Can you comment on the drones that are flying around New Jersey and ports?
Orson Welles and the Mercury Theater on the Air in The War of the Worlds by H.G. Wells.
New developments to bring you surrounding those mysterious drone sightings in New Jersey.
Hello, folks, and welcome back. This is Colonel Chris Wyatt, retired U.S. Army, former intelligence officer, and analyst, as well as a foreign area officer for Sub-Saharan Africa. And I have worked with unmanned aerial vehicles since the late 1980s. So, what's going on? Well, this is a topic that has all of the country's attention, and in fact, much of the world's attention, as my viewers from around the world keep asking me questions about what's going on with the drones in New Jersey. Well, what exactly is going on? We simply do not conclusively know what's in play here, folks. What is certain is that the early denials and claims of people mistaking this activity for commercial aircraft is rubbish. The corrupt Biden regime is well known for lying to Americans, and its opaque behavior in this drone controversy has only fueled distrust in the government and a rash of conspiracy theories. Now, this footage is from a dash cam camera recorded on Route 15 in Dillsburg, Pennsylvania on November 21st, 2024. The driver was northbound on the divided highway when two UAVs flew over the highway at less than 100 feet above ground level. This incident drew national attention in the midst of all the other sightings recently in New Jersey. United States Naval Support Activity, U.S. Army War College, Fort Indiantown Gap, and the Defense Logistics Agency are all located within the short distance of this particular sighting in Dillsburg. Though the size of the drones makes it unlikely they were anything other than short flight duration models incapable of flying to any of those sites. The drones are likely either hobbyist-owned or just test model commercial versions. In December 2023, unidentified drones flew over Langley Air Force Base in Virginia for 17 days. I reported on this in 2023, and the media ignored it. Now, the drones were first sighted on December 6th, and there were multiple incursions throughout the month of December. They were spotted by multiple Air Force officials at Langley Air Force Base. A few weeks after the drone sightings, quietly, without much media fanfare, a 26-year-old Chinese citizen and U.S. graduate student was arrested and later pled guilty for taking photos of classified naval installations with his drone. Since then, U.S. air bases in the United Kingdom at RAF Lakenheath, RAF Mildenhall, and RAF Feltwell in eastern England, as well as RAF Fairford in southwestern England, have been the targets of drone activity. The drones were actively monitored by Air Force authorities. Though the U.S. Air Force hasn't identified who is believed to be behind the incursions, unspecified mitigation measures are reportedly underway. Over the past several weeks, countless additional sightings have occurred, most prominently over New Jersey, including 11 confirmed sightings over Picatinny Arsenal, an American military research and manufacturing facility located on 6,400 acres of land in Jefferson and Rockaway Townships in Morris County, New Jersey, and near President Trump's Bedminster Golf Course. On Friday, December 13th, 2024, Wright-Patterson Air Force Base outside Dayton, Ohio, was forced to close its airspace over unauthorized drone activity. Air traffic control radio traffic warned aircraft about the dangers posed by multiple drones.
Med Flight 8 Patterson Tower, use extreme caution for heavy UAS movement on the base. Security forces is handling the situation.
39-year-old Chinese citizen and U.S. resident Yin-Pao Zhu was arrested on December 9th, 2024 at the San Francisco International Airport prior to an outbound flight to China. The U.S. government has accused him of flying a drone and taking pictures of Vandenberg Air Force Base. Zhao is charged with failure to register an aircraft, not providing transportation, and violation of national defense airspace, which could lead to a maximum of 4 years in federal prison if convicted. Well, Vandenberg Air Force Base. This, coincidentally, reportedly occurred when a SpaceX flight with a sensitive military satellite was being launched into space. So much for no Chinese involvement. Now, the hoopla with purported drone sightings over New Jersey is in some way reminiscent of the Hysteria Orson Welles adaptation of the H.G. Wells' The War of the Worlds novel created. Now, The War of the Worlds was a Halloween episode of the radio series The Mercury Theater on the Air, directed and narrated by Orson Welles, as an adaptation of H.G. Wells' novel The War of the Worlds from 1898. It was performed and broadcast live at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on October 30th, 1938 over the CBS radio network. That episode is famous or infamous for inciting panic among people of the public by convincing some members of the listening audience that a Martian invasion was actually taking place. Now, no doubt drinking some tainted Jim Jones Kool-Aid himself, U.S. Representative Jeff Van Drew, Republican, New Jersey, former Democrat, claimed in a TV interview as well as on social media posts this past week that the drones flying over New Jersey were possibly linked to a missing Iranian mothership off the East Coast. Defense Department officials strongly denied his claim. Iranian motherships, Chinese spies, hobbyists, commercial aircraft, Russian spies, feds searching for a radiological device. The list of whacked out ideas is almost endless, as is the number of goobers on social media making unfounded claims for clicks. What we are collectively seeing is no doubt a combination of bias confirmation, actual UAVs operated by law enforcement, hobbyists, and Chinese-sponsored spies, as well as light aircraft. But the mum is the word approach of the Biden regime in an era of social media and clickbait TikTok and YouTube videos is counterproductive. The feds look as if they have no idea what's going on, nor do they even know what different parts of the same government are doing in response, issuing counterproductive statements at odds with other parts of the federal government. The problem, ladies and gentlemen, is a lack of leadership throughout the federal government, a government staffed by political hacks, leftist woke-tards, DEI hires, and plenty of other fools as well. The federal aviation regulations prohibit unsafe or unauthorized operation of an aircraft, including drones. Unsafe operations may result in substantial civil penalties and possible action against an operator's FAA-issued certificate, or may be subject to criminal response by law enforcement in accordance with federal, state, and or local laws or ordinances. Folks, there are plenty of countermeasures available to a government willing to do its job, including but not limited to radio jamming, geofencing, counter-air operations, and much, much more. Geofencing is a virtual boundary around a physical area that uses GPS, radio frequency identification, Wi-Fi, or cellular data to trigger actions when a person or asset enters or exits the area. In other words, they can shut these drones down. Legitimate aircraft and drones are all required to be registered. Since September of 2023, even hobbyist drones registered with the FAA are required to broadcast remote ID information. That's one reason why my DJI drone has been grounded for several years. I am no longer re-registering this with these nosy feds, and I'm not putting any radio ID on top of this thing. So it sits grounded because of federal government overreach.
The government knows what is happening.
They know what's going on. This is not hard. There are laws and rules for operating drones. Trump was correct. The feds know what's going on. So why are they hiding it from us? Ask yourself that question. Why are the feds hiding this? Are they just that incompetent? Well, maybe. We've certainly seen the highest level of incompetence possible under the Biden regime. But I suspect there's a little more going on here. Probably some law enforcement drones mixed in with other things. And the government doesn't know how to respond because they're fools. So what are they hiding? If you're curious about how many rules there are, look at this. These are some of the rules for drone operators. For hobbyists, you can only fly for recreational purposes, personal enjoyment. You must keep your drone within visual line of sight, which means that finding the people who are flying these drones should be easy, unless, of course, they're from the mothership. You have to give way and not interfere with other aircraft. You have to fly at or below FAA authorized altitudes in controlled airspace, and only with prior approval from the FAA. You have to fly at or below 400 feet AGL in Class G uncontrolled airspace, like those two drones flying over Route 15 in Dillsburg. And now you have to take a test, the Recreational UAS Safety Test, TRUST. So you have to be tested and licensed to fly a drone. Seriously? You have to have a current FAA registration mark on your drone, which mine no longer has. And you must carry proof of registration, like a driver's license, or you can be cited for what is simply a hobby. Overreach of the federal government. But look what their overreach has gotten us. They have no idea what's going on. And as I said, beginning in September 16th, 2023, you have to have broadcasting ID on this thing. So, and of course, the most obvious one, which any common sense person doesn't need a rule book for, is that you don't operate your drone in a manner that endangers the safety of the national airspace system. What are they up to? Well, probably a combination of hobbyists, law enforcement, and Chinese spies. But then Van Drew tells us they're from an Iranian mothership, so maybe that's where they're all coming from. What say you folks? Cheers and Merry Christmas.